questions of XRP community started from, are we going to the all-time highs? And now the reality is the question has become like, will we even move a little bit? And when you go through the market, you kind of get an understanding of that question seems a little vague. Because if history stands true and whatever we are learning from everything else in the macroeconomic side, fundamental side of this asset, or whether you are looking at the stock market and what some of these companies are doing, you kind of get one thing in common, which is whales and their price action gives you a lot of clues. Say this is a short-term chart, but it does guide you to the direction we are going to. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Say some of these calls are now at the target here. So it went through the target 1, it went through the target 2. The market is showing you that. When you do look at things, there are news coming out. Now, it may seem like a negative news at the front, but remember, this is the context. Why is that happening? Because the Terra Luna happened. That was a Korean, right? So you understand the fact that they are now looking at regulating this industry as much as possible. So these kind of issues are not popping up again. But for us, yeah, we understand that. But the key point comes to this. Can this happen? Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I would like to lay out my perspective. Because if I turn out to be right, this is going to be huge. Now, what do I mean by this is going to be huge? Say you actually saw the price action doing this 1, 2, 3. Great. And then it went into the consolidation. Usually what happens is an ABC correction. Here that ABC failed to go to the downside. That's interesting, right? Now, since then, you've actually done the 1, the 2. What if we do this 3? How high should that 3 be? There's a lot of different questions to be asked inside that. Say the wave 2, the microwave 2 was 54%. And from the bottom of the wick, if you actually note the fact that the wave 3 actually went up like 54 to 59, that's something interesting to watch. Now, why do I say that? Because here, in this particular scenario, the wick high is 84%. And from the wick low, the bottom, if we are to do that 84, 85%, we're taking the price all the way up to 70,000. That actually is like the breakthrough all these previous resistance, the all-time highs. That's what we are talking in this range. So whether we move to the all-time highs or whether we move a little bit to test the last all-time highs, that is going to give a lot of room to the upside in the altcoin space because this is happening. This trend line breaking to the downside, whether it's a short-term one or you're looking at the medium term, that is all fine. It's all great. That adds more and more value into the altcoin side. Why is that important? Because you need to understand the fact that right now when we are talking about that, this is this scenario here. You actually got to see the price action doing this. The price went down, came back up. It is taking that as a resistance. If it's breaking below the moving average, you will see the price coming back down. That movement itself is a huge move for the alt market. But remember, it doesn't end there. Your trend line on which you were moving up is this. You broke that to the downside. You're retesting and getting rejected. Remember, go all the way back in history and learn what happened last time when we did this. That shows you how the market is still in its earlier phase for altcoins, precisely the large cap fundamental coins. You would have already seen some meme coins, some small caps doing extremely well. but not the large cap coins, right? And that is where this comes into the picture. You had a long-term accumulation, you went up, now we are slowing down. It can possibly just be a retracement, a retest of the range, but that's still fine, because what you're watching here is the fact that the price has been going up, but the RSI has been slowing down. Whether it's this range or this range, that's something we are watching to get that perspective, right? So you now have a clear idea that the market is showing that. And at the same time, dollar is showing you it can actually go for a retest. Now, it's not a rejection, it is just a retest. But keep this in mind. We talked about 104, 105 range as a potential retest for this range, because this happens to be your trend line resistance. You're getting really close to that. See, remove noise to be accurate. This is what you can actually do. Remove the noise. Try to catch this. So you may actually come up to 105. Still, that's the retest range. You can still go back down, because when you go on a weekly, your trend is this. What you're watching in the price action is you're testing the moving average. Now we need to see how the weekly closes, because with all the drama of extended higher rate scenario, this is getting the dollar strong. Even though we have multiple war happening in the world, safe haven assets are not going up. So you literally will have to watch how crypto market deals with this. Whether it's a short-term scenario like this or a long-term scenario like this, we in the XRP family, the SI family, go through that precisely. At this bottom, we talked about the possibility of that going up. And when we reach the top, we talked about it coming back down. So things are happening. When the price was still getting rejected, we had the thought process we should come back down to the support. So the price action does show you different things. And if you are interested in looking at that for a lot of different assets, the SI family is going to be the place where you are going to get all of those, so that you remain the most well-educated individual in the crypto space. Because right now you'll see some of them starting to move back up, whereas others slowing down, which is a red flag, which is not, which is a buying opportunity, which is not. Understanding these, I believe, is the key to success in the market. Now, coming back into this crypto market, see Bitcoin, look at what the price action is showing you, at least on a daily or weekly. It kind of takes you to a whole different level. Look at last 2 days, obviously the daily after the daily close. Here you got the 1 here, the 2 here. The selling volume was increasing and the price responded to that pretty well. After which, you actually got a decent candle, which is dominated by the bulls. It's green. But do we see a huge candle which is confirmed with bullishness? No, yeah, we went up in price. We went close to 43,600. That was great to see a bullish engulfing candle formation. But then what happened? They stepped back, or the sellers doubled down. So they pushed the price back down to this range, but again, they were not able to push the price below this resistance. That's positive. However, right now you will have to agree on the fact that even though we had this amount of buying power, it was not able to push through these levels. So the consolidation which we are speaking for the short term or the micro move here, it is still in the picture. We haven't erased this. That's fine. That's good. But what if we complete this phase? So coming back down to the bottom of 40,000, 41,000, that range should still be in the picture. Yes, that's a short-term scenario. On the macro, you're looking extra bullish for sure. When you go on a weekly chart, you still see the fact that the weekly close to the upside, the next week is trying to push higher. Whatever is happening, you're still in the range of the last candle. You have not violated that candle or its range. That is something to keep in mind. Remember, the same goes for the monthly candle. The last monthly candle showed you it was highly volatile, all the way from 49 to the bottom of 38. That's extreme volatility. Extreme volatility. So one thing to keep in mind is that if there is something macroeconomical coming in, there is going to be a retest of 38K. We should not neglect that fact. On a short-term scenario, yeah, the price action does show you the fact that whatever we have seen, it's been like a textbook pattern. You have a fake out at the upside, you have a fake out at the downside, now you're here. Are we going to test the 45 mark? It's going to be something good to see. But as of now, it's still volatile. You're not getting any confirmation from the market side saying I'm going up. Because with this rejection here, it shows sellers are still in control. So expecting the price to come back down to this range, or at least this range, is still in the picture. You cannot neglect that fact unless we form a daily candle which erases this level of bearishness. Remember, we go in this detail onto Bitcoin because we need to understand how the market is going to react. Because this is the altcoin space. We all interested in that for sure. But this is still in its retest. We want this asset to run higher, this entire asset class to take off. We all want to see that happening. But that and its timing depends on what Bitcoin does. Depends on when this push to the downside and the dominance comes in. Now, if you are confused here, you can literally go on a weekly, you can literally go on a monthly, whichever you like, depending on what type of a trader you are, what's your horizon. That kind of helps you a lot. So if you zoom in here, you're watching that just like we discussed about Bitcoin, this one candle is still intact. For me personally, I would really like this to break to the downside. Now, what am I talking about? Being honest, if the price does something like this, I would be really happy to watch Bitcoin dominance dropping like this. Now, will it do that? I'm not sure. But the price action shows you a possibility that the market is doing this. There was a drop, you slowly tried going back up, but it's not getting accelerated. So a continuation move to the downside would make a lot of sense. This is pure speculation based on the experience, what I have seen in the market over the years. In last 8 years, while looking at the market, we have seen a lot of these different types of patterns evolving. So if you do think this is going to come back down here, that has a lot of odds. You cannot neglect that. Then you go on a monthly to see what you're doing. And you're like, okay, we had a rising 2 pattern which came in, but then we failed to break to the upside. That ended up here. And that shows you the sellers, the strength is still there on the Bitcoin side. So we are now getting confused here. Price of Bitcoin should go up. ETF, they're scooping up the supply. Why the hell should the dominance go down? That's a genuine question. That's a genuine question. And I'm getting that a lot. But remember, each time when you're watching this dominance going down, it's not like the Bitcoin price is going down like crazy. Remember that. Keep this in mind. This is most important fact. Bitcoin dominance, when it dropped from that 75 all the way down to 39, look at what the time was that. It started in Jan and it ended somewhat here. What was the low? Yeah, somewhat like October. But the first primary bottom was in May. Now you go back to Bitcoin. Now you go back to the same time horizon to ask the question like, what the hell did Bitcoin price do during that time? 2021 Jan all the way to May. So you take the time horizon, put it here. You're taking the Jan. So the Jan is this part, say early Jan, right? So the Bitcoin price was like 39,000. From there, it went up to 65,000. $25,000 it went up while the Bitcoin dominance was going down. So if you put this on a weekly, you get a clearer picture where the arguments which we can make is now small, meaning we went up here. We were consolidating in this phase while money was jumping out of Bitcoin a lot of new people were buying into Bitcoin, but the big guys who bought in early, they were selling this and moving on to the alts. The dominance went sky high. This is what we would like to see. Whether that's going to happen at this range or whether that's going to happen at this range after a run to the upside, we'll have to sit and see. But right now, you don't have a negative divergence in the price action, just like we have seen here, the big one. There's nothing has been playing out here. So once you get to see whether the short-term scenario or the medium-term scenario, if that plays out, great. Now you have the negative divergence. Yeah, that's it. That's the top. You're going to go back down. Till that time, educate yourself about the market opportunities, because the market will show you opportunities. When Bitcoin bounces from this, you'll see a lot of altcoins doing massive movements. Not the 70% which the Bitcoin does, maybe 700%. This is going to be surprising, but it's going to happen in the market. If you receive value, smash that like button. If you want to join the SI family, look for the link which is in the description below. So guys, I'll meet you in the next video. Bye for now.